Hello, grade 9 students. Hope you are doing well today. Today we'll continue Unit 2, Chemical Bonding, but with a new chapter that is Covalent Bond and Ionic Bond. In our today's session, we will know the types of chemical bonds. We'll talk on specific about the covalent bonds, then about the ionic bonds, and we will finish up our session with an assignment. First, let's talk in general about bonding. Atoms with unfilled valence shells are considered unstable. يعني لما تكون الطبقة الأخيرة مش مكتملة من الإلكترونات بتكون هيدي الأتوم غير ثابتة. Atoms become more stable by filling their valence shell or at least meeting the octet rule by getting 8 valence electrons. Atoms will try to fill their outer shells by bonding with other atoms. الأتومات بتحاول إنه هي تعبي الطبقات الخارجية تبعها عبر bounding. bounding اللي هو عبارة عن تعمل روابط مع atoms تانيين. هودي الروابط بنسميهم chemical bond. Chemical bond is a bond result from the attraction of nuclei for electrons. In other words, it is the proton in one nucleus that is attracted to the electron of another atom. Now we'll talk about the types of chemical bonds. I have two main types of chemical bonds, the covalent one and the ionic one. In covalent bond, the covalent bonds are formed between two nonmetals. These nonmetals are found in groups 14 till 17 on the periodic table, as you see in this periodic table in this slide. The covalent bonds are formed when atoms share electrons. So in covalent bond we have sharing, تبادل. ليس خسارة أو ربح، لدينا تبادل. Both atoms need to gain electrons to become stable, so they share the electrons they have. بالcovalent bond الاثنين atoms اللي عندي إياهم بحاجة إنه يكونوا عم يربحوا إلكترون ليصيروا ثابتين، فبهيدي الحالة بصير تبادل إلكترونات بيناتهم، بتشاركوهم مع بعضهم بس ما حدا بيخسر أو بيربح. Atoms can share more than one pair of electrons to create double and triple bonds. So covalent bonds can be in three types: single covalent bond, double covalent bond, and third covalent bond. Covalently bond atoms form molecules. So as you see in this diagram, I have single bond when I have one pair of electrons, double bond when I have two pairs of electrons that are shared together, and triple bond when I have three pairs of electrons shared together. Now we'll talk about ions. Ions are formed when atoms gain or lose electrons. So here I have gaining and losing. عندنا هون ربح وخسارة، ما عندنا مشاركة. Ions are charged atoms. They are either positive or negative. Positive ions are called cations, formed when the atom loses electron. It loses negative charge, so it becomes positive ion. So that's why we called it positive, although it loses electron. And mostly cations are metals, while the negative ions are called anions, and they are formed when the atom gain electrons. So when it gain negative charge, it become more negative. And mostly anions are non-metals. Ionic bonds are formed between metals and non-metals. Ionic bonds are formed between oppositely charged atoms. So ionic bonds is formed between anions and cations. Ionic bonds are formed by the transfer of electron. يعني عندي عملية خسارة وربح. atom بتربح electron لحتى تصير stable وatom تخسر electron لحتى تصير stable. Now, a small question. Do you think how we can determine the number of electrons that are lost or needing to be gained? We can determine this in a very simple way depending on the column that the element is found within it. Atoms with 4 or less valence electrons want to lose their valence electrons. So if atoms has 4 or less valence electrons, they are found in column 1, 2, 13, or 14. But if the atom is found in column 14, 15, 16, or 17, this means that if the atom has 4 or more valence electrons, this atom tends to gain more electrons to satisfy their octet rule. Octet rule means has 8 valence electrons. This is a small table that compares ionic bonds to covalent bonds. These two bonds have very different points, but they are the same in one point that at the end all atoms will have a full outer energy level. Now we will finish up our session with an assignment. You must complete this table. In column 1, I give you the name of the atom. In column 2, you found the group that this atom is found. And in column 3, you found the number of valence electrons in this atom, and you must fill the last column. You must determine the number of lost or gained electrons for this atom in order to be stable and to satisfy its octet rule.